All right, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Go ahead to get started in just a minute. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. Good
All right.
evening.
All right, cool. Awesome. Just go ahead and I'm just checking to make sure that any last minute folks who are reaching out got the link here. So, all right, cool.
I
Um,
was telling I was telling him earlier that Sockbite and QRadar are not loading for me today.
okay. So go ahead and
I mean, I'll post it in support a little bit later, but CrowdStrike works just fine.
yeah, there's an issue with QRadar. I'm in the other tools. So but we're gonna go ahead and just get started. So welcome everyone. For those of you who know the routine, you know what time it is. For those of you who are new, who are sitting in on tonight's free live session, typically how we start off these calls is we get started with a shift turnover report, which is standard across security operations. That's typically what we do. It's essentially a sync up. So security operations is a 24/7 model. You know, you have first shift, second shift, third shift. So for Fortune 500 billion-dollar organizations, which is all I've worked in and throughout my entire career over the last 10 years, you need to have 24/7 eyes on glass. And so this shift turnover is typically a 5 to 15-minute call where, you know, you have a previous shift passing on items and announcements to the incoming shift. It's a way for everyone to stay on one accord. So you think of it as a relay race in track and field, where you're doing like a 1600 or let's say an 800, and you have one runner passing the baton to the next runner. That's essentially what we're doing here. We're passing the baton. The shift lead here is myself, contributors. I'm just going to put, we have Justin, good to see you, Tor, and I'm going to just say plus because I don't want to put everybody's name, but typically we would just add everyone who shows up for the shift. Looks like I've been signed out. Okay, so let me go ahead and get back in. Why that just happened. There we go. All right. All right, cool. So we're back. Our current risk level is low. So there's no active threats, indicators, or vulnerabilities that would change that. As far as system health checks, it looks like Sockbite's up and running, CrowdStrike's up and running, and it looks like QRadar is down. I'm just going to go ahead and try again. But I believe that there's an issue. There may be some maintenance or something that we're unaware of, but we'll go ahead and just make sure. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, Jalen, I see you. So I'm going to go ahead and put you in here as well. As far as announcements, I'm not going to run through the list because most of you guys know the rundown by now, but this is where we would drop any new announcements and whatnot. As far as cyber threat intelligence is concerned, there's a couple articles here to review. There's no tuning recommendations, and it looks like the only runbook update is the sanitation runbook. I know last week, Jalen, Tor, Renee, we kind of went through that, what that looks like from a internal, sanitation perspective. So when we're writing these reports, typically when you're working in an organization, it is against policy to post internal data or company identifiable information online. However, being that we've created this sanitation run book, you guys understand the requirements and expectations when it comes to posting confidential information online. In terms of incident details, it looks like we have a few different incidents that are open. Looks like we have one here for Renee for some credential dumping. Looks like Jalen's working on something here for QRadar fence. Another one from Jalen, a few from Jalen. Jalen, you're clogging up the queue, man. What's going on? As far as CTI and threat hunting reports, we have a bunch of different reports here that are open from Lamar, Renee. Looks like there's a couple different advisories here, and I can kind of explain what that actually means to the people who are new. This is the expectation is not that you guys know what's going on by the end of this call. The purpose of tonight was really just to give you all an opportunity to sit in on what it's like to actually participate in a real live SOC shift. Disclaimer, we are not a boot camp, okay? We are not a cookie cutter boot camp. If you want to go get a certification and do that, you don't need us, okay? We are a managed security service provider. That is at the core of Site Authority's business model. We've grown into that. And what that allows us to offer is we offer cutting edge cybersecurity training to aspiring cybersecurity professionals who are looking to get hands-on experience. What you do in this program is you actually work in a SOC. You work in a live SOC 24/7, and we work live SOC shifts. So you guys are actually getting to sit in on a live SOC shift, not a boot camp, not some sort of cookie cutter open source bullshit. Okay, we're using real tools, real licenses. We access them through an enterprise solution called Okta, which if you've worked in security, you understand that that's like a legitimate enterprise solution in terms of identity access management. And so everything that we do is real, live, no simulations, no dummy data. It's real traffic, real threats, real tools, real people. All right, so you guys are getting the real deal hands-on experience. All right. And that's pretty much it. I see that you added some things here, Tor. We're not going to go over that now, but thank you all for adding those items and deliverables. Now, in regards to what we're doing here today, the purpose of today's session is to expose and educate not just our internal team, but outsiders who are interested in security. I came up with this idea after going to InvestFest. For those of you who may be familiar with InvestFest or Earn Your Leisure, it's a yearly conference where 25,000 people come together. You have some of the largest names in the game. Robert Smith, who's the richest Black billionaire. Magic Johnson was headlining. You know, you got all different types of folks who show up and talk about business, finance, you know, entrepreneurship, technology, everything from AI, crypto, you name it. And so I was just thinking, how can I give back to the community and for people who may not have this type of exposure and increase the awareness and education? And this is what I came up with. All right. So with that being said, what we're going to do tonight is we are going to dive in hands-on, as I promised, on a threat hunt involving an active threat actor. And so just for the sake of, you know, I want to say accountability here. Is there anyone on this call who doesn't know what a threat hunt is or what threat hunting is? And it's okay. You know, you can come off mute and just, you know, or just raise your hand or just whatever. Does everyone on this call know what threat hunting is and the purpose of a threat hunt? And if I don't hear anything. Okay. Hey, what's up, Caesar? Good to see you here, brother. So thanks for speaking up. So threat hunting is the proactive approach or proactive side of security. So when we talk about threat hunting is the proactive identification of what we call indicators of compromise. Okay. And so you have different parts of security within the cyberspace umbrella, right? So think of cybersecurity as an umbrella. And within that umbrella or underneath that umbrella, you have multiple cybersecurity disciplines or domains. All right. Some of you may have heard of hacking, or what we call in the professional sense, penetration testing. Okay, that is one silo or domain of security. Then you have where we work in a security operations center, and that is incident response. Okay, so incident response is not proactive, it's reactive, hence the response part. So after an alert is triggered or after some, you know, suspicious activity takes place that meets a threshold set by engineers to trigger an alert, that's when a cybersecurity incident response team would then perform those actions, right? You also have purple teaming, you have vulnerability management, you have data privacy, you have GDPR, you have GRC, global governance, risk, and compliance. You have cybersecurity sales. There's so many different aspects of security. One of those domain and disciplines is called threat hunting, or you may hear cyber threat intelligence, which is essentially a subset of that. But intel is more surrounding you know, intelligence and there's different types of intelligence. You may be working with a 3-letter, 4-letter agency. There's different intel and RSS feeds that you may be receiving or monitoring to stay up to date with the latest cybersecurity news, events, and research, or breaches, may I say. And so threat hunting is the proactive approach to security. It's your ability or the team's ability to identify indicators of compromise, common vulnerabilities and exposures, and be able to provide actionable insights, or what we call blocking recommendations or hardening recommendations to prevent an attack from happening before it takes place. Any questions on that? All right, don't be afraid to speak up.
Lot of stuff to remember.
A lot of stuff to remember. However, when you do it for long enough, it just comes second nature. As you know, I'm not reading from a slide right now. I don't have a presentation. I am just literally spitballing off the top of the dome, but I've been doing this for 10 years, so it just kind of comes with the territory. Like if I asked you, Tor, can you set up a hook on a fishing line and cast, like you would do that with your eyes closed, hanging upside down, blindfolded. Okay. Coming
Exactly.
from an ex-commercial fisherman who used to fish in Alaska. But again, you guys will get to that point the more that you do this stuff every day. All right. If there's questions, drop them in the chat or come off mute and ask. Everybody who's in this community, in this program, we're a family. We are Psi Authority, all right? So everybody who is in this program comes from different walks of life. Nobody here is from the same background or industry. Some people are, but we have ex-fishermen on here. We have retail folks on here. We have physical security folks on here. We have teachers. We have students. So everybody comes from a different walk of life, and we're all here to support one another and head toward in the same direction, lift as we climb. So no question is a dumb question except one unasked, okay? With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. So what we're gonna do is, can you guys still see my screen? Am I still sharing my screen?
Yep, I see everything.
Okay, cool. What's up, Justin? I feel like we haven't seen you in a couple months. Justin got a job at Snapchat a couple months ago, and then he said, "The hell with us." He hasn't showed up ever since. And you know what I mean? Like it was kind of like one of those things where I was just like, you know what I mean? He forgot who took him to the dance. I'm just kidding. What's up, Justin?
Nothing much. Trying to make time for you guys and learn a little bit more.
Let's do it. All right. So what we're using right now is a tool called CrowdStrike. All right. This is the leading cutting edge tool in the market, hands down, the #1 cybersecurity company in the world. All right. Every single company that I've worked at, from Michelin to Fiserv to Raytheon to GE to Microsoft, has had this tool in their environment. That tells you something. All right. I can see Harris got on the edge of his chair. He started to get excited. All right. He finally started to pay attention once I said CrowdStrike. I'm just kidding. Don't mind me, Harris. It's good to see you. Good to have you here. So CrowdStrike is an EDR tool. Okay. EDR stands for endpoint detection and response. Okay. You may hear EDR or MDR or ODR thrown around a lot, but essentially, in layman's terms, it's a tool that has a sensor or agent placed on an endpoint. What's an endpoint, Justin? Give me an example of an endpoint so people know what we're talking about here.
Endpoint device.
Right. So that
tablet, laptop, computer.
Exactly. So it could be a tablet, it could be a laptop, it could be a host like a laptop, it could be a server. All right. And so the EDR, the agent is placed on the host. Okay. So that's a laptop, that's a server. It could be placed on the network itself. It could be placed in the cloud, but essentially it's a sensor or agent that's installed on the following. Okay. And the purpose of it is to detect anomalies and anomalous behavior, whether it's signature based or pattern based, whatever. And so CrowdStrike is the leading EDR tool on the market. Now, there's so much you can do with CrowdStrike, right? Just if I click here on the left-hand side, this hamburger opens up just a variety of different capability that you can do, right? And all of these different things, right? Right now you can use CrowdStrike as a SIM tool. Not going to go into too much what that is, but SIM is a security information event management console. In basic terms, that is a centralized device that receives data and logs from all different types of endpoints on the network. All right. So you can use CrowdStrike as a SIM, but we use it as an EDR. Now, the endpoint security module has a lot of different modules within. And then we also what we're going to be focusing on tonight is the counter adversary operations module. Okay, so the counter adversary operations module is a whole suite of features and capabilities. Just think of it in terms of like what it sounds like. Counter, which is to repel. adversary, which is an attacker, operations. So we're countering adversary operations, right? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on adversaries here, and it's going to open up an entire new page with a ton of different information. And so let me go ahead and make this smaller so I can actually see my screen. All right. So everybody with me so far? Hope I'm not losing anyone. Cool. If you guys are paying attention and you're enjoying what we're going over, put EDR in the chat so I know that everybody's paying attention and everybody's on the same page. All right. If you're paying attention and everybody's everyone's following along, just put EDR in the chat so I know that okay, cool. So I see people doing that. All right. So here we are in the counter adversary operations module. All right. And so this is one of my favorite features of CrowdStrike. All right. It's one of my favorite features of CrowdStrike. So I want to go ahead and show you what we're looking at. So this is a module where CrowdStrike has built what we call threat actor profiles. Now, by default, we're seeing 10 adversaries, but within CrowdStrike counter adversary operations, there's over 270 threat actor profiles. Okay, so that is the internal CrowdStrike CAO team that has built out these threat actor profiles of known active threat actors. Okay, so just from looking at my screen right here, we can see 4 different threat actors. We have Royal Spider, we have Traveling Spider, we have Sly Spider, and we have Punk Spider. Okay, and so what these adversary threat actor profiles is they are organizations. Okay, so think of a threat actor as an organization like Microsoft or Google or Apple, right? Those are legitimate organizations. Well, you have illegitimate organizations, also known as, threat actors, cyber criminal organizations, advanced persistent threats, hacktivist groups, cyber criminals, right? There's so many different types of illegitimate organizations, okay? But each one of these threat actors is its own unique criminal organization, all right? Just want to make that reference and correlation, all right? So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and open up one of these threat actor profiles. Let's just click on, let's see, Royal Spider, for example, all right? I'm getting eaten up by the bugs here. All right, I think this might be a good one. Yeah, this is going to be a real good one for us to look at. All right, so Royal Spider is the name of this threat actor. And one other thing to mention is the fact that just like legitimate companies work together, illegitimate companies or cyber criminal groups, they work together as well. Okay, and a lot of times companies will get shut down, or these groups will get shut down, and they'll spin up another illegitimate organization. And a lot of them actually work together, right? Just like a legitimate company may work with suppliers, vendors, they have customers, right? You have criminal organizations who work with other criminal organizations. So you may have a threat actor group that doesn't necessarily do the hacking, right? But they may build the malware and sell or resell that and distribute that in the black market or dark web. And other threat actors will purchase it or purchase the exploit and then perform those malfeasant activities. Okay, so just make sure that you understand that. Now, Royal Spider is a group. Can anyone tell me where this group originates from? Can anyone just come off mute? Where does this group originate from? What's the origin?
Eastern Europe, Russia.
Russia.
So Russia. Who said Russia? Someone said Russia. I think I heard someone say Russia. But yes, it's Russia. Eastern Europe, right? So Russia, also known as the Russian Federation, Eastern Europe, is where this adversary origins from. So let's just kind of go through the details, right? So this adversary was first seen in September of 2022, so they're approximately like 3 years old. They're active. They're currently active. They're an e-crime organization. So they are an organization that is primarily focused around, just cybercrime, right? Let me pause here for a second because I think there might be somebody. No, okay. Okay, just wanted to make sure that there was nobody trying to get in. Looks like here we have some Europe. Okay, some people put in the chat. Exactly, great. I like that you guys are engaged. Okay, so yes, so they're just a I want to say just a criminal organization. You can see that here. Their motivation is criminal. They were last seen in August of 2025. So that's why their status is set to active. And so that's just some basic preliminary information that we want to capture. All right. Now, the target industries. Target industries is exactly what it sounds like. All right. You don't need to write all this down because it's a lot of information, but it's just good to take note of. So they're targeting entertainment industries, they're targeting local government, they're targeting technology, retail, legal, automotive, the list goes on and on, healthcare, aerospace. So they have a pretty wide net. All right. It's safe to say they got a pretty wide net. And their target countries are China, Canada, Malaysia, Germany, Taiwan, Ghana, India, South Korea, Puerto Rico, just a bunch of different target countries that they have on their radar. Now, one thing to keep in mind, or one thing to notate, this is trivia. All right. So trivia real quick. This is a trivia time. The top 3 most targeted industries. Anyone have any idea what the top 3 most targeted industries are with respect to cybercrime? Anybody?
United States,
No.
Europe.
I'm saying the top 3, not targeted countries. I said targeted industries. What are the top 3?
Healthcare,
Put out.
healthcare,
Stock market.
finance,
Someone said healthcare. Who said that?
healthcare, healthcare, finance, and I think of the last one.
All right. I think I heard Harris say healthcare, and that is the number 1. So you're absolutely right. Behind healthcare, anybody know what's behind healthcare?
Tech.
Nope, but that was a good guess. The number 2 most targeted industry is government, right? Government, local government, national government. And the number 3 is education institutions, right? And so those 3 those 3 industries are the top 3 most targeted institutions. And I also will kind of throw on there as a 4th one, because this one's grown in the later years, manufacturing. Because why? Well, manufacturing is one of those industries that's been significantly impacted by what? Automation. So just so you guys know, artificial intelligence is a good thing. It's a tool. There's pros, but there's cons. And so being that we are so heavily dependent on automation right now, it's going to be a prime target of cybercrime and cyber criminals. So what does that tell us in the future? Using basic logic, that tells us that in the foreseeable future, cybersecurity is going to be even in more, right? And manufacturing seeing that on the back end, some of the ramifications of that heavily dependence. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that, because that's just important to know. All right, so the last thing on here is these community identifiers, or what we call, I would say there's community identifiers and common identifiers, or this is another way to say aliases. So Harris may go by Harris, but his alias may be, Pretty Boy 101, right? That could be his gamer tag or something. Think of it as like an alias, right? So some of you guys play games, you have like Xbox or PS5. I think Justin goes by like Jay Blaze on Call of Duty or something like that. Think of that as a community identifier, or a common identifier, aka alias. So Royal Spider also goes by Royal and Black Suit. Interesting. All right. So this is the threat actor profile. Now we're going to get into the good stuff. All right. I'm going to try my best so we complete this tonight, so you guys walk away with a tangible understanding. So these two modules right here, you can see there's some sandbox reports, endpoint detections, vulnerabilities. And then if you look under threat intelligence, there's 11 intel reports associated with this threat actor. And then there's 12 indicators. I'm going to go ahead and click on indicators. Now, for those of you who are a part of this program, you already know how we identify indicators if there aren't any within the counter adversary module. But being that we have 12 indicators of compromise already here that at our fingertips and accessible, we're going to focus on those. All right. So the indicators, or what are better known as indicators of compromise, are exactly what they sound like. And there's different types of indicators of compromise. Okay. So these are indications of a compromise, and they are different types. So let's go ahead and click on this filter type right here. So how many of you know what or have heard of a hash? Okay. A hash or a domain, right? Those of you who have gone to, facebook.com, that's a domain. Okay. Or youtube.com, that's a domain, right? So you have MD5 hashes, SHA-1 hashes, SHA-256 hashes. Think of a hash as a digital fingerprint. Think of it as your fingerprint, right? Your fingerprint is unique. There's 8 billion people on the planet, but nobody has the same fingerprints. It's a unique identifier, okay? And so we have hashes, we have domains, we have URLs, which is the full domain, right, with the appended tail. So that could be a specific web page that you're going to or redirecting. We have IP addresses, we have email addresses. Those are some different types of indicators of compromise, okay, or what are known as IOCs. So from looking at this right here, we have 12 indicators of compromise that have been identified and associated with this threat actor. Okay, you can see here, Royal Spider. Okay, the malware family, Black Suit, System BC. All right, the type, domain, the indicator is listed here, and then it has an actual severity tag as well. So within the severity labels, you typically have like 4 labels. You have informative or informational, you have low, medium, high, and critical. So that's what, 5, excuse me. So you have informational, low, medium, high, and critical. And those are basically determined by the impact of the particular alert or the, I would say, malware that you're looking at. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and can anybody tell me, right, now that we've gotten to this point, what happens next within our threat hunt? Okay. So far, let's just recap. We identified a particular threat actor that we're going to hunt. What's the name of the threat actor? Put it in the chat. Anybody? Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
The name of the threat actor is Royal Spider. Okay. So we're looking at Royal Spider. So we've identified the threat actor that we're looking at, but we have no other information. What's a threat hunt? How do you go about next steps, right? Well, typically, if we didn't have a profile in CrowdStrike that to rely on, then we would have to do a little bit more manual work. So just for shits and giggles, I'm going to go ahead and do this. So I can type in Royal Spider into IOCs and see what pops up, right? So I can look and see, okay, here's an article that pops up right here from Unit 42. Let me just click on this and see if there's anything useful. All right, Unit 42 is run by Palo Alto. It's an internal security team. Let's see if there's anything here related to that. So what I can do is I can type in IOCs. If this will let me do what's going on here. No? That's weird. Might be my internet. I can see here this isn't loading. So try again. I'm trying to do a Control F here. For some reason it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, that's weird. But typically what I like to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to do this again. Might be my connection or this web page. Yeah, no, something's wrong with this web page. Okay, so we'll find something else. All right, so let's go. Royal Spider. What else? All right, so I see another thing here, another page from CISA. CISA is the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So, all right, cool. Yeah, Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. And so this is a legitimate resource. Okay. You guys should bookmark this. CISA.gov is definitely a resource that you want to be familiar with. So stop ransomware. So Black Suit is a malware family or a ransomware family. This looks like it was last revised last year. Let's see. Okay, cool. Let's see. Is there any IOCs on this page? Let's type in IOC. Okay, so summary. Okay, let's see. So do we have any indicators of compromise? So yes, we do. So just like I just did just now, it took us about what, 30 seconds, would you guys say? I just showed you how to manually identify indicators of compromise for a particular adversary in real time. Now, the good thing is CrowdStrike, the counter adversary operations team and module that we're using, has already built out a threat actor profile for us. And they've identified 12 indicators of compromise already. That does not mean that those are the only indicators of compromise. It just means that that gives us a starting point. Okay. So for the sake of time and for tonight, we're going to go based upon the indicators of compromise within the counter adversaries operations module. However, if you're conducting a threat hunt, you're going to want to make sure that you don't just depend on one resource. You're going to want to know how to find indicators of compromise if you're not handed them on a silver platter, in which we were tonight. So with a 30-minute search, I just literally typed in the name of the threat actor and then appended IOCs on the end. And I was able to pull up an article from the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency where they have a list of different indicators of compromise. Looks like these are IP addresses. Okay. And then oh, look at that. What do we have here, guys? Look at that. We have domains. So right here, we have a ton of different we have hash values. We have file names. Okay. So we have a wealth of information here that is compartmentalized and categorized as the following. So we don't necessarily just need to count on we don't need to count on just one resource. I see Justin is in the Snapchat office. That is so dope. Justin is in the Snapchat office right now. Wow, that's awesome. All right, cool.
Yes, sir.
So that proves that we're not bullshitting. And so, all right, with that being said, so we know how to manually search for these IOCs if they're not handed to us on a silver platter. Now, can somebody from the internal Authority SOC tell us what are we supposed to do now that we have identified indicators of compromise? What is the next step in the threat hunting workflow?
You need to use OSINT tools to validate those specific IOCs and figure out if they're malicious or benign or not.
Perfect. Perfect. Did everyone hear what Jalen just said? Jalen
Yes.
just said we need to use OSINT. I'm going to ask him to explain what that is because I don't know if everyone on this call knows what OSINT is. But by the end of this call, you guys are going to walk away understanding a whole lot. I told you guys this is the real deal. There's no fluff. There's nothing. We're doing real work. So, all right. With that being said, we need to confirm and validate the reputation of the IOC by using OSINT. All right. Somebody put that in the chat. Harris, if you're writing it down, drop it in the chat so everybody can see it. And this way you can write it down after the fact. So I'm going to say it again. We need to confirm and validate the reputation of the IOC using OSINT, OSINT, which stands for Open Source Intelligence. We need to confirm and validate the IOC reputation using OSINT, okay? So we have a list of indicators of compromise, which are the IPs, domains, URLs, emails, file hashes, file names, you name it, right? Now we need to validate the reputation because just because something was flagged as malicious way back when doesn't necessarily mean it's currently malicious. So we need to do that next level of analysis to validate that reputation. So we're going to use OSINT. Does anyone new here, not our internal team, anyone new here give us an example of one of the top, or I would say most popular OSINT tools that if you're working in security, you're going to use on a daily basis? Can anybody tell me? I want to hear from someone new. Let me see. Let's go with Caesar. Caesar, do you happen to know? All right, Caesar's on mute, so I don't know if he's able. So, all right, let's ask
I was gonna try one. Not sure if I'm right about it, but ServiceNow or Snow.
No, but thank you for speaking up. So ServiceNow or Snow is a ticketing tool. So it's used to for case management and ticketing. That's essentially a tool you'll use to collect artifacts and build out the report on the investigation. So no. However, thank you for speaking up. I'll go ahead and give you an example of one, okay? So one of the most popular tools, which we're going to go to and use right now, is a tool called, surprise, surprise, Virus Total. I'm going to drop it in the chat so you guys have it and can refer to this in the future. So Virus Total is an open source engine, okay, that is used by the cybersecurity community to validate the reputation of different indicators of compromise. You can see here in the search with URL, IP address, domain, or file hash, right? So what can we do? Let's take this domain right here, this low reputation domain, and let's just click on these two squares and copy it. And then let's go into Virus Total and let's paste it. All right. You guys see what happened there? We took the domain, and you can tell that this is a domain, not because of the first half of this, but because of the .onion subdomain. Okay. So a lot of you will see this .onion and be like, what the heck is that? How many of you have heard of the dark web? How many of you have heard of the dark web or the Silk Road or, whatever? The dark web is, first and foremost, it's not accessible on the internet. You can't go to this .onion right now and actually go to, it won't resolve to anything because you have to be connected to the Onion router or the Tor network. So we actually have the owner of the Tor network on this call. His name is Tor Store. I'm just kidding. All right. Tor is a member of our team. He has nothing to do with the dark web or the Onion router. But the Onion router, or better known as Tor, is actually a browser like Chrome or Firefox or Safari. It's a browser, and you can't just download it and then access the internet. You actually have to connect it you have to download it, and then you can access it using this .onion domain. Okay. So that's
I thought you could access it using your VPN. That's what I used to do.
So you actually have to download the Tor browser. Okay.
Right.
So that's how you access the dark web. Okay. And so that's why this .onion domain is appended at the end of this domain. If we were to remove this, it kind of just looks like a hash value, right? But it's not. So as you can see, we ran this, and 5 out of 94 of these cybersecurity vendors are flagging this as malicious. Excuse me. I'm actually surprised it's not all of them because this is an Onion router domain. So again, this is 5 out of 94 security vendors flagging this as malicious. As you can see here, you have all these different vendors. Some of you may have heard of these. For example, you may have heard of Bitdefender, which is like an antivirus solution. All right. You may have heard of SOC Radar, which is a good one that I love. What else? You may have heard of Fortinet. Okay. You may have heard of what else? Sophos. All right. These are different cybersecurity vendors. All right. Here's another one, Kaspersky or Kaspersky, depending on how you pronounce it. These are different cybersecurity vendors, okay? And so these vendors are basically make up a community. You can see here we're in detection, so you can see like the detect label. If you go into details, you can see a little bit more. This is affiliated with what? Black Suite ransomware. All right, there's some more information that you can look into here in regards to the results on Google. If you look at relations, all right, doesn't have too much, but if you click on community, you can see that people who contribute to this community and this open source community have left some comments, right? Threat assessment distributors of Black Suite ransomware. Okay. And that was referenced by Unit 42 Palo Alto's security team. So this domain is indeed, in fact, malicious. The reputation we just validated as malicious. Okay. So that's how we validate the reputation. So I'm going to take a hash value because I just took a domain. How do I know that? Well, look at the domain, the type here, and it says domain. So I'm going to take a hash. I'm going to take the SHA-256 hash because that's the one that we tend to look at and rely on the most. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go ahead and paste it in VirusTotal. And as you can see here, the hash has no subdomain. So there's no .com, there's no .onion, there's no .net. It's strictly just a string of characters that literally make no sense, okay? They make up no sense, but that's how we identify a hash. It can be numbers, it can be just, numerical, it can be alphabetical. That's what makes up a hash. So I'm going to go ahead and enter, and let's see what happens. Woo! Bunch of red everywhere. All right, so 51 out of 71 security vendors are categorizing this as malicious. Does this look good? Would you guys say this looks good, or does it look bad?
Looks bad.
Now, how do we know if it's good? Well, if it says 58 out of 71 in red, that ain't too good. Did someone say something and come off mute? Well, let's type in Google. Google is green and 0 out of 94, so everything says clean. Okay, so now you guys know how to identify the reputation of an indicator of compromise. So look at this. I'm going to tell you some important things to pay attention to here in this section. So we have 58 out of 71. Obviously, that's pretty important. You can see here 51 security vendors flag this as malicious. Click on this. Let's see if there's anything. All right. You have the hash right here, which is the same ending in 300, And then underneath the hash values, something that's very important. You can actually see the correlated or associated file name. And if you look underneath that, you see a bunch of different sub-labels. So take a look at it. What does PEEXE stand for? Can anyone tell me? So this hash value, which is a digital fingerprint of a file, which is the file. What's the file? SOX32.exe. And what type of file is it? Well, it's a portable executable. That's what PE stands for. Portable executable file. And how do I know it's an executable file? Because it ends in .exe, which stands for executable. Okay, so what is an executable? What does it sound like when you execute, when you do something? It's performing an action. It's not a text file. It's an executable file, meaning it does something. It runs code. Okay, so this can be very dangerous. And you can see here, it says long sleeps. It says detect debug environment, checks user input, persistence. Persistence, what does that sound like? That is actually a technique of the MITRE framework. What's the MITRE framework? Let's go into it. So I'm going to go ahead and type in MITRE ATT&CK. And I'm going to click on the MITRE ATT&CK framework. This is an open source framework that is heavily used in cybersecurity. If someone was to ask you what the MITRE ATT&CK framework is and you don't know, you will not be getting a call back on the job. I promise you in the interview. So this is something you want to bookmark. I'm going to put it in the chat. Matter of fact, can somebody from our team put this in the chat? Somebody from our team put this in the chat. Thank you. All right. So now the most important part of this whole entire page is this matrix right here. This matrix is made up of tactics, techniques, and procedures. What is a tactic? Well, let's hover over this first column right here. Reconnaissance, and you can see that label that pops up, which stands, it says TA0043. Now, TA is a tactic, okay? Now, underneath each tactic are a variety of techniques and sub-techniques. So within the reconnaissance tactic, there are 10 different techniques which go as follows. How do you know the difference between a tactic and a technique? A tactic starts with TA, and a technique starts with T. So TA0043 is reconnaissance, and that stands for the research phase. That is when you are gathering intelligence on a particular target. Okay. How do you gather reconnaissance or information? You can do so by these different techniques: active scanning, gather victim host information. If I wanted to target, let's say, an individual like Justin on this call, he was my target of the attack, I would say, all right, Justin works for Snapchat. Justin drives a Camry. Justin lives in Ohio. All right, I'm gathering intelligence, and none of those things are true besides the Snapchat, but I'm gathering intelligence around this target, and that is also known as reconnaissance. Now, we talked about persistence because if you go to VirusTotal, it says persistence. So within the MITRE ATT&CK framework, if you hover over to the right here, you can see TA0003 is the persistence tactic, excuse me. And so persistence consists of techniques that adversaries use to keep access to systems. Let me explain. So if you were to find a house key for somebody on your block, and you were to go to Home Depot and go make a copy of that house key, and then go say, hey, go wave to your neighbor and say, hey, I found your key laying on your porch. Like, you know, here, do you need it? And give it back to them. But you really had a copy of the key that you made from Home Depot. That's persistence. Okay. So this file hash and this file is an executable that attributes persistence. Now, one other thing we can do is we can type this in on Google and just be like, hey, what is this? And now we know exactly what this file is. It's a malicious executable that functions as a backdoor. It's a component of System BC malware family. Let's go back to the counter adversary operation. Look at this, guys. It's right here. Now, is it starting to make sense? Does this start? Are we starting to connect the dots on what we're looking at here? We have a hash value, which is a 256 hash, right? It's malicious. We validated the reputation. It's associated with System BC malware family, which is utilized by Royal Spider threat actor. And we've attributed and confirmed and validated that thanks to our open source tool, VirusTotal. All right. We know exactly what the purpose and intention of this file is for. We know it's related to persistence and used as a backdoor. So now we have an understanding of this indicator of compromise that we knew nothing about 10 to 15 minutes ago. Questions, comments? Because I know I'm moving 100 miles an hour, but I got to just, you know, get through the information because we have a limited amount of time and we're halfway there. All right. If you're enjoying this, if you're learning something, then do me a favor and drop a 1% in the chat. Okay. If you're enjoying this, if you're learning, or if you rather be reading a textbook, then, you know, I would say don't say anything. All right. We got one who was the first person? We got Tor was no, who was the first person? Let's see. Tor was the first person. All right, cool. Justin, Caesar, Harris, Jalen. All right. The Dotson family. We got Justin, we got Eric. All right. Good to see you all. I'm glad that you all are here. Okay, great. So, any questions on any of that so far? Okay. If there are, just come off mute and I'll answer your questions. All right. Once we validate the reputation, now we have a bunch of different indicators to validate. There's 12. We're not going to do all of this for all of them because we won't get through the material that we're supposed to cover, but you rinse and repeat for each indicator of compromise. Okay. So we validated the reputation. Once we validate the reputation, what do we do next? We validated the reputation, guys. All right, cool. So we validated the reputation. let me go ahead and get this domain right here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat. I'm going to defang it. For those of you who don't know what defang is, Jordan, what's happening, bro? Good to see you. I'm going to defang it, and I defang it by adding brackets. All right. So the last thing you ever want to do is share malware or a malicious domain, because, you know, you don't want to do that. So what we do in security to prevent that from happening, well, look in the chat and you'll just see. I added the domain, the malicious domain .onion, but I put it in brackets. And I did that so that if you clicked on it by mistake, you won't get redirected to it. Mind you, it's on the Tor network, so it's not going to resolve anyway, or it shouldn't. But what I did to implement best practice is what we call defanged it. So think as the indicator compromise as a snake that has fangs. You wouldn't want to get bit by that snake. So if it's venomous, so what we do is we remove the fangs on the snake. So now if it bites you, it's like gumming you. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna gum you. It ain't gonna, sink its fangs in you. Some of you guys may have been gummed before. I'm not getting into your anyway. So with that being said, at least appreciate my, my charisma. All right. I'm just joking. I'm making it fun here, but if that's what and hey, well, listen, it has nothing to do with me, but it might be anyway. So with that being said, make sure you defang indicators of compromise. Don't spread malware. All right. Anyway, so I put that in the chat just so that we can reference it in a moment. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and give me 1 second, folks. Sorry, 1 second. This is an example of a scam. Yeah, I don't need funding. Thank you though. Get 100 of those calls a day. But yeah, please don't answer those calls. And if you do, don't take them serious. And if you get the whole I found your resume, on it was shared to me by a recruiter, blase. Do you want to work 2 to 3 hours a day and make 2,000? Please don't take that serious. Come on, guys. Please don't take.
I get these
Don't
messages.
respond to the Craigslist, you know what I'm saying? The Craigslist job ad. You got what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff has to just be let's be for real. All right, let's be for real. We do it to ourselves. You understand? Like, let's just no. All right. I got a couple of them today. It's like I'm looking at them. Here's one. Here's a good one, right? Your Coinbase withdrawal code is this. Please do not share this code with anyone. If you have not requested this, please call. Well, I know I didn't request this. So do you think I'm going to call this 800 number and say, hey, what was this, Coinbase withdrawal code? Did someone take funds out of my Coinbase wallet? No, absolutely not. Like, we fall for this. We fall for this. All right, let's see. This was another scam. Let me go to another one today that I got. Here's a good one from UZPNGAJFTO4299036 at KUAIWONIU.XYZ. Hello, I'm Mary from Remex. Recently, we learned about your outstanding background and would love to recommend you to a high-paying remote job opportunity. You can choose part-time or full-time. You can work and the content is simple and can be completed at home. Oh my God, that's amazing. We provide about 60 minutes of free training for newcomers to ensure that newcomers are familiar with the work. The salary range is $300 to $700 a day, and the monthly income is guaranteed to be no less than $10,000 and paid daily. In addition, full-time employees enjoy 15 to 25 days of paid annual leave, which is an ideal choice for those who really pursue a work-life balance. And the requirements, you just have to be 22 years old. If you are interested, please send me a message, 845-526-26940. Well, is anyone interested in that?
No.
Because if you are, you're a moron. All right. So with that being said, Jalen, I got a job opportunity. Are you interested?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
I love you guys. I'm doing this out of love. All right, so that's just 2 examples of today's scam board. Now, back to reality. All right, so we're talking about the domains, and now I want to share a hash. So I'm going to go ahead and share this hash that we just validated in OSINT. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yep.
I know the WhatsApp ones are freaking hilarious. I got one of those the other day, Eric. Yeah, send me just send them. You want my social and my credit card number, the 3 digits on the back, you freaking idiot. All right. So now that we're done with that, so I sent you guys. So what do we do after we validate the reputation of the indicators of compromise, Jalen?
We have to scan our environment and see if it's actually in our environment.
See, I'm messing with him, but that's a bad man right there. See, he knows his shit. All right. I'm messing with him, but he knows his shit. All right. You're absolutely right. So what we do once we validate the reputation, and he's been in the program, I think, less than 6 months. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we have to, once we validate the reputation of the OSINT tool, then we have to scan our environment to see if that threat or IOC actually exists. Fair? How do we do that? So we're going to go into counter adversary. Excuse me. We're going to go into the hamburger here. We're going to click on the endpoint security module. And then we're going to scroll down to, I'm lying. Excuse me. Let me correct myself. We're going to go to investigate. We're going to go to the investigate module. And then we're going to click on advanced event search. Okay. Now, once we click on the advanced event search, now this is where the magic happens. Okay. We're going to now paste this indicator of compromise, but we have a query. We're going to run a query for it. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull that out of my handy dandy notebook, which is going to be right here. So we are looking for a hash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this query that we have built to search for this indicator. Okay. So what does this mean? Well, let's break it down. Okay. Let's break it all the way down. Because now we're writing SPL, which is structured programmable language. Actually, let me make sure I'm giving you that, guys, that correct. So what query language? I know Splunk uses SPL, but I believe we're using KQL right now. CQL, excuse me. So CQL is CrowdStrike's query language. SPL is Splunk's query language. Essentially, it's like the programming language you're writing to build a query to pull and extract data. Okay, so we're writing CQL, and LogSQL queries are also known as LQL for querying and analyzing data within the Falcon platform. All right, so yeah, we're writing right now CQL. That's what it's called, this query language, okay? So case in SHA-256 data values equals to. Let me break this down for you in layman's terms so you guys understand. Case in is the function we're using. We're using the function case in. We're looking specifically for what kind of IOC? Come on, come on, come on. What IOC are we looking at right now? You're on mute. Don't mute. The hash. So we're using the case function. We're specifically looking for a SHA-256 hash, and then we're specifying the values in the quotes right here, as you can see. So we're only looking at one hash, but if we had to look at multiple hashes, what will we do? Well, very simple. All we would do is we would throw this in quotes and then separate it with a comma separating value, right? So let's just do it so that we know. All right, so let's go to, and of course I didn't do it the right way. Yeah, okay, let me open this up again because I lost my tab. So I'm gonna just do a group, right? So sometimes you may come across 1,000, right? In this instance, we only have 12 indicators, but you may come across a profile where there's 1,000 hashes to look at. So we got to group them and run them in a bulk search. So let's just do that. Let's just do 2 at once so you guys can see how it's done. We're looking at SHA-256. Let's grab it. Okay, here's another one. Boom. Let's validate it. All right. This one's not coming up. Doesn't necessarily mean it's not bad, just for the record. Doesn't necessarily mean it's not bad. Could be it hasn't been seen before, right? This is an active threat actor. So it doesn't mean it's not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and just take, let me see if there's another one just because I want to make sure. Let's see if this one's bad. All right. If not, we'll use it anyway because it doesn't mean it's bad. All right, cool. So this might be a new hash with a new with a reputation that's not known. So what I'm going to do, put that in there, break it down. Oh, I'm lying. Sorry. I don't need that. And I don't need this. Let's see. Something looks up. So I think this is good. Let me see. Last one. Yeah. So the last one does not need a let me do one more just so you guys can see this correctly. SHA-256. Here's another one. So this is how this goes. Wait a second. All right. There we go. And there we go. So make sure. Can anyone tell me the difference right now? Because right now the query is broken. Look, enter. It's broken. Why isn't it working? Can anyone tell me why it's not working?
Looks like it's missing quotation marks, no?
It's not missing them. It's not missing them. Jalen, why isn't it working? Jalen, what do I do? I don't know what to do. Come on, tell me why it's not working.
He's on mute.
Oh, sorry. It's not the correct quotation marks.
Thank
You have
you.
to change.
What's the difference? These are straight quotes. These are bent. You guys see that? It's broken. So let's fix it.
Oh, okay.
You guys see that now? It's still not working.
I
All
think
right.
you have to add quotation marks on all the hashes.
Yeah, quotation then slash. Like that's what I meant by missing. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Thank you, team. So let me go ahead and do that. So let me do that. All right. Now there we go. So we have open bracket. We have each indicator in quotes separated by a comma separated value. So first one is #1 in quotes that we've manually done. Make sure they're the same, not one curly, one straight. So they're both straight, separated by a comma, separated by a comma, separated by, no, not separated by a comma. And the reason why is because this is the last one in the list. So if the last one doesn't get a comma, okay? And why am I getting an error now? Quotation mark. I think it's because of this right here. There we go. So these have to match, and I believe it should work. There we go. Okay, you saw how everything went away. All right, so now there's no errors. So let's reiterate what we did. We're using the case function in the SHA-256, exactly what we're specifying. Which is what we're looking for, the indicator we're looking for. So we are using the case function, looking for the SHA-256 indicator or hash value. We're specifying the values in quotes with comma separated values, as you can see here in figure A, B, and C, with the last one not having a comma because it's the end of our list. And then we're saying to create a table, and we're specifying the parameters we want to see within that table, which is going to be the customer ID, agent ID, the event simple name, and the computer name if there were results. Being that there aren't any results, we get no results found. Now, one thing we didn't do, and this is just standard, is when we're conducting an internal search in our environment, we want to look back 30 days. And it's running, it's done. Okay, so it took about 5 seconds to run because we ran 30-day search, and we know it's done because query status says done. There's 0 hits in our environment, and our search is completed with no record of these indicators. Okay, so what do we do next? Okay, what do we do next? Let's recap before we talk about what we do next. Okay, so, and give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and put them on a light because I want to make sure that you guys don't see me in the dark. All right. I'm back. So, all right. So let's recap what we did. All right. We started, we didn't know anything. All we knew is that our director of security slapped the threat actor on our desk and said, we need to we need to perform a threat hunt on this threat actor to make sure that we're not exposed and we have no indicators of compromise observed in our environment. That's all we knew. We knew that it was Royal Spider. That's all we knew. So what did we do? We conducted a search in Counter Adversaries Operations module. We built out a threat actor profile. Okay. We gathered those artifacts. We identified 12 indicators of compromise. We validated the reputation of those indicators. Then we conducted a sweep search by building out this query using CrowdStrike's advanced event search module. And we confirmed that there were no hits within the last 30 days. Any questions so far on that? No. See, no questions. You guys sure? You guys good? If you're not, I mean, this is a lot of information. I needed to see this, you know, a couple times before I actually got it. So I'm not expecting everyone to like fully grasp and understand it. But is there any questions you guys need me to break down any phase of that workflow? Is there any questions about it? You need me to reiterate it? Because we have another step we need to take now, which is arguably the most important. Going once. Going twice. All right, cool. I hope the Dotson family isn't falling asleep on me. That's all I hope. I hope the Dotson family's locked in. I hope they're engaged. All right, cool. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, all right. Now, the most important part of this whole entire process is what? What do we do next, Jalen? Jalen, I can't see your beautiful face, man. What's going on? You like, what's going on?
Something's going on with my my cam. Yeah, it's an issue. Got an issue with
What do we do next?
Well,
What do we do next?
Next, you have to remediate. So you have to block the IOCs you found. So the hashes you have to block those in the IOC management.
My man, my man. So where do we go, Jalen? Tell me what to do. I don't know what to do.
All right, click the hamburger.
Oops.
Go to endpoint security. And at the bottom there, you'll see IOC management.
Like, come on, y'all. I wasn't playing with you guys. I wasn't like, we wasn't doing no verbs and definitions. I told you guys we're getting our hands dirty. And so with that being said, within the last hour, we've gone through 3 different modules in CrowdStrike. Just to reiterate, we went through endpoint security. Well, first and foremost, we went through counter adversary operations. We went through in the investigate module via CrowdStrike Advanced Event Search, and now we're finishing off in endpoint security's IOC management. Okay, and so this is where we take everything home. All right, we had a threat actor. We identified IOCs. We validated the reputation. We swept our environment by building out a proactive query search via KQL to sweep and hunt and search in our environment to see if there's any present active threat. We confirmed there wasn't. Now we need to do what? We need to provide hardening recommendations to the organizations we work at, right? Finding the list of IOCs, that's the gold right there. Because now what we do is we take that and we turn it into actionable items, all right? The indicators of compromise, that's like the kill, right? If those of you who own pets, right? Who here owns any pets or like a cat specifically? Anyone here have a cat? I don't know if there's any cat. I'm not, you know, I love animals. I don't got a cat. I don't got a dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got rabbits in my backyard, but I got animals that run around. I got kids that run around like animals. But other than that, I ain't got no cat. Anybody have a cat here on the call? Any cat lovers? I got a cat upstairs in my king's. Anyway, but yeah, with that being said, if you have a cat, I love this. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying? It's my show. I say what I want. I don't gotta speak to Chad. Chad's not checking me in his organization. It's my show. Welcome to my show. All right. I should do stand-up, but you know, I just combine cybersecurity and stand-up. I got a cat in my never mind. So if you have a cat, then more likely than not, your cat has probably brought like a dead rodent to your back door or if you saw the Instagram post I posted the other day, this late, let me actually show it to you guys, because I probably would take this cat and donate it to down the block. Never mind. But because the cat brought the roadkill into the owner's bedroom on the pillow of I can't make this shit up. But yeah, it's funny because this is actually what we're doing right now. And I wish I can find it for you guys so I can show you guys. Let me see if I can find it, because it's that funny. Okay, I found it. So here, look what happened. So you're sleeping and the
I saw
cat
one
brought a gift.
I saw one just
So
like
you're
that, except she brought a snake in.
So you're sleeping, you're counting sheep, and Fuzzy, decided, hey, Ma, I got you a gift, and puts the rat on your pillow, and you wake up and it's, homicide. So what we are doing right now is we just brought the kill to our organization, to our team. Those indicators are compromised. And so now what we need to do is we need to perform the implementation. Okay. And this is arguably the most important, because once we identify those indicators of compromise, what we need to do next is we need to provide hardening recommendations to increase the security posture of the organization. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if we have any ladies on the call, but ladies and gentlemen, does that not sound like a resume bullet point, an actionable, impactful bullet point? Being able to conduct proactive threat hunts utilizing CrowdStrike counter adversaries module to identify indicators of compromise, to provide hardening recommendations to increase the security posture of an organization. If y'all are with me, drop a Scythardy in the chat. Are y'all feeling me? Like, I just gave you a resume bullet point. Like, I'm out. Y'all better, you know what I mean? Like, can we be for real? Can we be for fucking real? Like, for real. This is a 6-figure skill set. I kid you not. I learned this at Microsoft, supporting one of the largest 4-letter agencies in the United States. And so this is something that I did every single day, to support the SOC. Okay. I see you guys tapped in, and I appreciate that. The cat definitely gotta go. Dotson said the cat gotta go. Let me tell, I'm donating. I'm not even going to certain shit you gotta just not say. But if you can imagine where I'm saying, I was donating the cat. All right. I'm not telling you where I'm donating, but you can let your imagination wander. All right. I love everyone. So with that being said, now is the most important part. Okay. So we have to go within endpoint security, IOC management. And now what do we do now, Jalen?
All right, now we have to search for the indicator and see if it's in our IOC, and then after we validate that, we'll need to add add it to the IOC
All right.
manage.
All right, good. So what IOC management is, it is a list of what is blocked in our environment. So we confirmed it's not in our environment, but now we need to confirm whether or not it's blocked in our environment. Okay, so you can see here, right? Indicator is the type. The action is what we perform. They added last seen, blase. So what I'm going to do, you can see here, we have detect only, right? That's an action we can take. So you may add something to this IOC management list, but you only want to detect it. You don't want to block it. You can see here, we have a bunch of different blocks set in place. So we have to confirm if this is blocked. So I go ahead and paste one without the quotes, of course. Let me make sure I don't have the other quote on there. All right. And I'm going to ask you all for a favor at the end of this, for those of you who are new. As a matter of fact, I'm asking all of you, new and old. I'm asking everyone for a favor at the end of this as a token of gratitude, but we'll talk about that later. All right. So I pasted the hash value, and now I'm going to hit apply just to see if it's already on the block list or not. If it is, we don't have to take any action. If it's not, clearly in this case, it's not, Now we have to add it to the block list. This is the remediation implementation. This is the hardening, and this is the increasing the security posture aspect of our workflow. So what we're going to do, being that it's not present, we're going to click add indicators. And now you can see there's a bunch of different types. We're going to click on hash because that's what this is. We're going to manually add the hash. I'm going to paste it there. I'm going to go ahead and tell you exactly what this is. So that's not the one. Here it is. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this because I want to put a description on what this correlates to. So I added the hash manually. The description is going to be the hash plus the name of the file. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and delete the hash. I'm just going to put the name of the file that it's associated with. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the definition on what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put this, copy that, and I'm going to put this in the description. I'm going to say sock is, and then I'm going to paste it. A malicious executable. I'm also going to defang it. That functions as a backdoor, as a component system AC, blase, blase. The file name, go ahead and paste that there. All right, I'm going to add it to all hosts. I'm going to add it to all platforms, which is Windows, Mac, and Linux, which you guys are most likely. I'm going to add it as a block. And the severity is going to be set to whatever it is. It's going to be high. Okay. There's no expiration date because we don't ever want it to expire. And then I'm going to press add hashes, and it worked. How do we know that it worked, folks? Well, we can see here in the top right corner, indicators were added. Let's just view it. There it is. It was just added. All right, here it is. We did it. All right. Any questions? Any questions? All right. So what do we do now? We pretty much have concluded our threat hunt. And so now we have to capture all this. Now, Jay, you said something earlier. You said ServiceNow. All right. You were like ServiceNow. ServiceNow is a ticketing solution. All right. It's case management. Shout out to John. What's happening, bro? I see you in the chat. I see you in your car. You here. You present. That's good to know. I'm happy to see you. So we use a tool called Sockbite, which is a custom proprietary tool in our environment. All right. And this is a this is an AI-enabled SOC. So Sockbite is our own proprietary technology that we've built. It's used for case management. It's used for automation. It's used for threat intelligence. There's so many different features and capabilities of this tool, but this is what we use for that. So you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and click on case management. All right. I'm going to click on threat intelligence. And then I'm going to click on create threat intel report. I'm going to select an alert, which is used for threat hunts. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a title for it. So let me go ahead and click on Royal Spider. A lot of this information we're going to just copy and paste for the sake of time. And because we don't need to reinvent the wheel, we just need to capture the right information. So I'm going to click on Royal Spider. Excuse me, Royal Spider. I'm going to pipe that. And I'm going to do this real quick so we don't have to keep going back and forth. Royal Spider. Go ahead and put that like this. All right. And I'm going to also add I'm going to add the Russian Federation. All right, which is the origin, because I think that's important. All right. Threat hunt, subtitle. Actually, let's just do for a subtitle, just do this. All right, source. For the source, we will put, let me see, I'll just put Sockbite as the source. Analysis summary. So I'm gonna just build, I'm gonna build this out. I'm gonna freestyle it. I'm gonna say on 8/26/2025, the authority VSOC conducted a threat hunt on threat actor oil spider, which resulted in 12 IOCs. Actually, I'm gonna just say on Royal Spider. I'm gonna go ahead. Now, I'm doing this the long way. One thing I just want to point out to everyone on this call right now, everyone should be using AI, 100%. Everyone should be using AI. Hold on one second. Yes, everyone. I'm in the country a little bit, so I gotta make sure ain't no animals creeping up on me. But everyone should be using AI. Deers and bears. Everyone should be using AI. It's too quiet. I start to, you know what I'm saying? A little, you know what I mean? I got an apple tree in my backyard. So everyone should be using AI. However, you should not be 100% dependent on AI, and you should 1000% be able to think independently and put together your disposition, which is what we're writing right now in our analysis summary. And then what you should do is leverage AI to make it better. Does everybody understand me? Because the worst thing you can do is use AI in place of your own thinking. Okay? The second thing you never want to do is copy and paste something that you got from ChatGPT without being able to have a reputable citation or source to back it up. All right? From experience, guys. I don't want you guys to ever be in a position where you copy and paste some shit from ChatGPT and then your manager or your senior lead analyst, whatever, says, "Where did you find this?" You do not just want to you do not want to just say, "Oh, ChatGPT." That's like the worst thing you can say. You want to have a link to a source to citate. Okay? Like an article that actually you saw that. Everyone cool? Because you will look like an idiot if you're not able to do that. You do not 100% depend on AI to do the thinking for you. You think you use your brain first, and then you leverage AI on the back end to make it better. All right? That's how you do it. So on 8/26, the Site Authority VSOC conducted a threat hunt on the following threat actor: Royal Spider. What the hell? All right. Actually, let me go to my handy dandy notebook here because I've already done this. All right. So let me go ahead. Okay, no, I didn't. Did I not do it? Okay. So typically what I'll do for my team of analysts is I'll already build out the disposition template so everybody can just use that and then plug and play. So, because we've already done this and I've already done this 1,000 times. So this way we don't have to work harder. We can work smarter. Right. So that's essentially what I'll need to do. Can somebody notate that? Jalen, can you do me a favor? And just make a note for me to build out the threat hunt disposition template and add it to the IOC search AES runbook. Thank you. All right, cool. Because I want to make sure that we have that accessible. So, okay, cool. Royal Spider. Okay. All right. All right. So as a result of our hunt, we were able to confirm 12 indicators are compromised by leveraging the OSINT reputation in Virus Total, performed a sweep, performed a, I want to say KQL sweep within our environment to leverage the following, to confirm no present IOCs exist. After we confirmed that there were no IOCs that existed, we then checked what do we do? What was I saying now? We checked the what do we do? What happened after that? I'm sorry, guys. I'm brain fog. Check the IOCs existed. Then we, after we did that, we then, Jalen, help me out. What do we do after that, team? First thing we did with the thread, we did IOCs. After we validated the reputation of IOCs, we formed the KQL sweep within our environment to confirm no present IOCs exist. Once we did that, then we checked we checked we leveraged IOC management to confirm blocks were set in place and all right, I'm gonna just say and leverage roster in place. The SOC recommends the following IOCs. Added to prevent further propagation. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up ChatGPT and I'm going to just say, what am I going to say? I'm going to say, use our custom GPT to say, make the following disposition summary better to be added to our report. I'm going to go ahead and paste that. And now I'm going to now receive a better summary disposition. All right. So do you guys see what happened there? Okay. Here we go. I'm going to take this one just because I then just kind of refined it using ChatGPT. All right. And that looks terrible. There we go. All right. Everyone has their own style. All right, this is mine. So on August 26th, the Site Authority VSOC executed a targeted threat hunt focused on Royal Spider threat actor. As part of this investigation, 12 indicators of compromise were identified and validated through open source intelligence enrichment, leveraging virus total reputation scoring and sandbox analysis. We didn't cover sandboxing tonight, but I'll cover that after this, just like high level. A follow-up KQL sweep was conducted across the monitored environment to verify absence of active or historical IOC presence. No matches were observed, confirming that the environment is currently free of these indicators. IOC management controls were audited, and it was confirmed that the blocking rules are active for the identified IOCs at both the network and endpoint layers, ensuring preemptive mitigation is in place. The VSOC recommends the IOCs be formally added to the organization's global block list to maintain coverage and reduce the attack surface. At this time, there are no further remediation actions required. Okay? Any questions on that? That is a solid, thorough disposition. All right. Effective products. Now, typically what we would like to do, if there's like a vulnerability or if there's, let's say, an incident that took place, we want to make sure that we capture any affected products. So one thing I can put in here is we are conducting a threat hunt on a threat actor Royal Spider. Are there any affected products impacted by recent activity from this adversary? And if there are, let's just capture them and add that to our report. Okay, so looks like impacted sectors and victims, high profile victims, operational developments. As of August 11th, Department of Justice disclosed that the coordinated disruption effort disabled 4 Black Suit servers and 9 associated domains affected through collaboration. Report Department of Homeland Security indicates that since 2022, they have compromised over 450 victims. Let's see. Looks like Royal Spider specifically isn't linked to vulnerabilities in the commercial software products. Rather, their operations have severely impacted organizations, diverse sections, including healthcare, education, prominent entities like Dallas and Silverstone Circuit, a large number of U.S.-based organizations. All right, next steps for your threat hunt. I recommend assessing whether motivated sectors. So as of this point, I'm just going to put NA, as I don't see any affected products. The impact, I think we had that here. So let's go. Looks like recent developments, impacted sectors. So I'm going to take this information right here. All right. Now, okay, what's going on? There we go. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to paste that into this. Now, this impact typically has to be comma separated value. So I'm not pasting all this. I'm just going to say healthcare infrastructure. I'm not going to paste all this because we don't need all of it. All right. All right. You go ahead. Cross these. Nope. Just going to put this first part. And then I think we're good. All right. All right. So this should be good. Healthcare and critical infrastructure, targeted healthcare. Actually, I'm just gonna put these comma separated industries because yeah, let's do that. All right. So that's the impacted I guess we could say industries. One thing we didn't do, I'm gonna go ahead and let me go into the chat and take these. We typically put the targeted does that allow you to monitor a threat for a closed environment? I'm going to get back to your question in a second, Eric, because I'm sorry I didn't see that earlier. But what we typically do in the summary disposition is we add the targeted industries and the targeted countries. But for right now, let me go ahead and put this. All right. Let me put. All right. So what we're doing is we're adding the hash values separated by a comma. Okay. All right, cool. All right, cool. Okay, cool. That way don't mind the format for right now. All right, cool. So I'm going to just leave this right now. There are other, actually, let's just do it. Let's do a thorough job just so it doesn't look terrible when we generate this port. We go back into here. I'll add an MD5. There we go. And we'll add a SHA-1. So these are different types of hash values, okay? Just based on like the length. All right. Most reliable is definitely the SHA-256, the MD5, which is why we only capture those. IP address. Okay, guys, do we have an IP address in this list? We do, which is good. Copy that. All right. Validate it. All right. Doesn't say it's bad. What I can also do is do what we did before. I want to show you guys malicious one. All right. Go to the link. Control F, IOC, and let's grab this one. Let's grab this. You see how they have it defanged with that bracket? That's what I was telling you guys earlier. All right. Let's see if it's bad. It's bad. Let's take that, paste this, and URLs, NA for now. Domains, we'll grab what we have in here. This one, which is the .onion, paste that. Emails, put NA. Radiation, following. Following IOC should be added to the IOC management block list. And I'm going to go ahead and grab these again. So let's just do this. So I'm just basically taking the hash values and I am pasting them. Okay. All right, that looks good. Okay. Now, before I make this mistake, now every now and again, technology does fail. And so what I want to also do is I'm going to capture, where's the threat actor profile? Here we go. I'm going to grab this, targeted industries. I'm going to add that into this portion right here. All right, there we go. And I'm going to add the targeted countries. All right. I think that's important to capture. And the community identifiers. All right. Cool. So targeted countries. And last but not least, we're going to do community identifiers. All right, and this is good reinforcement for everybody who's in our community. Because you know it's good to kind of go through this. And I think it was relax suit. Is that right? Suit. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let me go ahead and put this in the chat. So if we lose it, sometimes, you know, when it comes to, am I over my limit? I'm over my limit. So let me break it up. All right. So we'll go ahead and just remove this portion. There we go. So there's that. I'll put that in the chat for you guys. And then let me go ahead. Don't tell me it just, where'd it go? Did it really just do that? Did I lose it? Where'd it go?
That happened to me yesterday.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. What happened to you yesterday?
Oh,
It
I was
looks
doing
like the dates
I was
have
doing
filled
the
the block list.
advisory, and I had put all the information in, and then when I hit this go submit, I don't know if it got submitted or not, because when I got back to what's it called, a sock bite there, it had logged me out.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna do this again. That's why I did what I just did. So I'm just gonna do threat hunt. All right. So we do threat hunt, and then I'll do royal spider. No worries, we'll get it done. Subtitle is gonna be black suit and Russian Federation. Source sock bite. Scroll down. We got all that. Affected products is going to be NA. The impact is going to be healthcare. Actually, I'll just put a couple of these. What did it say? Healthcare, public safety, education. All right, so I can go with the industries. I'll just put this. All right. It's want me to comma separated values. So I'm gonna just put the first few. So the impact is pretty straightforward. Goods, local government. Every technology has its own bugs and hiccups, right? Let's go back in here and let's grab the domain. Okay, domain URLs. We're gonna put NA, emails, NA. Let's go IP address. We'll put Where is it? We'll put this. Where is that? Where did I have that? There we go. All right. Let's put the IP address. 105. MD5. Let's put that MD5. Let's put the SHA-1. SHA-1. Let's put the SHA-256. SHA-256. And I think we're good to go. All right, remediation. Create. All right. Well, there's an issue that I need to fix, but
Did you get
have
this?
have no fear. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I click on open. So yeah, it looks like there might be some. Oh no, there it is right here. Okay, cool. All right, so boom. All right, cool. So here we have it. We have all the information that we just captured in our summary. We have the impact. We have the affected products. We have the IOCs that we've captured here. We have the remediation recommendations. And now with the click of a button, the really cool part, if I download this,
Zoom
boom,
meeting.
with the help of SockBite, we can generate a beautiful report just like that, that literally outlines all of our analysis, our investigation, and we can even add evidence. So we can add like screenshots. So you can see download PDF, boom, open it up, there's our report. So that's the really cool thing about StockBite. Now, every technology has its hiccups and whatnot. Like I said, this is a custom proprietary tool we built from scratch. So it's, it's still obviously we're refining and stuff like that. But look at this. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Look how, like, imagine sharing that on LinkedIn and being able to talk about that. So for example, on other parts of our report, like other features, let's go in here. I'm going to go ahead and close this out because we also have an AI agent called Dexter. So I'm not going to go ahead and go through that right now because that's in development. But what I'll do is I'll go click on here and I'll say, is this ready to be closed out? And I'll play yes. All right. And now it's been closed out. But another cool feature is the fact that we have, and I'll click on this. We can click on, let's go and click on this one. If I hit download, you can see there's a port. Oh, this one doesn't have it. Let me try to find one that does. This one, the first one, second one. Any screenshots? I want to see one that has screenshots. Let me click on one that's open. Maybe that's the case. Anybody have one with screenshots? I know that might be. Let me see. I'm gonna find one. Might not be that important, but okay, cool. So like here's an example of one where we have screenshots and evidence of like different screenshots that we had in our investigation, right? So anyway, I showed you guys in real time kind of how we do it. Let me go back and pull it up one more time just so you guys can see. All right, go to close and then Royal Spider. All right, actually I had it right here. I don't know why I do that. But yeah, that's it, guys. So we just literally completed our investigation. All right, from start to finish. We created a report. We wrote our disposition, which is basically capturing all of the steps and entirety of our threat hunt. And then last but not least, with the help of SockBite, we generated this beautiful PDF report, which captures all of the details, all right, with respect to this threat actor. All right. We wrote our disposition, which entails, right, the industries, the target countries, community identifiers in a beautiful report. And we have the impact, affected products. We have the IOCs. I didn't add all of them for the sake of time because we're coming up on 2 hours now. We added the remediation efforts. So obviously we added everything to the block list, and that pretty much summarizes our threat hunt. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and pause here. We have 15 minutes on the hour, and I'm going to save some time for questions. Any questions, comments? Just want to go ahead and if you do, just feel free to come off mute. Um, you know, I'll answer them accordingly.
Would I be able to get this recording so I can go over a few more times?
For you, Tor, yes. I know some of you have asked me for, and I do have to get to the other recordings. Some of you have asked me for recordings of this this session, and unfortunately, I can't provide those just because there's internal data. So I can't let that those recordings go externally. If you're interested, for those of you guys who aren't a part of our program, we host these sessions Monday through Thursday. So like I said, these shifts are live shifts where we're doing live work. There's other analysts like myself who run them. Tuesdays are my nights where I perform and lead spearhead threat hunting. But we also do incident response where we actually go into CrowdStrike and work an alert. And other tools as well in our environment. But yeah, if you guys are interested, for those new people who have never been here and you guys are just getting into this, if you're interested in becoming, part of our team and actually like joining our program, you can reach out to me. I'm going to go ahead and drop my LinkedIn in the community. You guys can reach out to me there. I think I'm connected with most of you guys there. If not, you might be in school. If you're not in the school community, we have a free community. There's no commitment financially. There's no time commitment. It's just a free cybersecurity community where people are all kind of moving in the same direction, supporting each other, posting their success stories, sharing different items and whatnot. You can join there for free. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in the chat now. So here's my personal LinkedIn. All right. You guys can connect with me there. I'm going to drop the school community. All right. And this way you guys have that. Where are we at here? All right. Here we go. So just copy this link. This should work for you guys if you're not in our free community. All right. If you want to join our community, just reach out to me and I can help you guys get spun up. If you want to join our program, excuse me. If you want to join our community, you have that link. You could just register for free and that's there's nothing else to it. Now, what I was going to ask all of you, everyone on this call, not just the you're welcome, Eric. Actually, I think you have a question, but let me go back to that. So, did you have a question, Eric, that I didn't answer? Let me go back. It says, "Does this allow you to monitor a threat in a closed environment?" Can you explain? I don't necessarily understand your question. All right, maybe I don't know if you're on mute. You might be on mute, but yeah, if you want to share the question with me, prior to, I think you mentioned Sam. Yes. So, all right. So real quick, sandboxing, you could think of sandboxing as a dedicated segmented environment where you can detonate, like, let's say that URL, and let's say that URL was a phishing URL. There's free tools that you can use. There's also paid tools. We'll drop those in the chat for you guys. So you have access to them because I believe in, providing as much value as possible. So what I'm going to do is I will go ahead and drop this in the chat real quick. All right, there's a tool called hybrid analysis, and I'll just show you, and then I'll proceed with my ask. So hybrid analysis is a tool. Wasn't there an operating system that's supposed to allow for that? Wasn't there an OS that is supposed to allow for that? Again, when you're dealing with malware, you don't want to detonate that on your host. You want to dedicate it in a dedicated environment. You want to detonate it in a dedicated environment so you're not subjecting your host or environment to any sort of threat. All right. So hybrid analysis is a free sandbox where you can literally upload a file or drop a URL. Okay. So you can upload a file, you can upload a URL, and then it would literally give you a snapshot of, what it's doing. So like, for example, let me see if I can find that onion URL. Here it is. So in real time, real quick, I can literally come in here and analyze it. Might make me sign. Yeah, see, it's making me sign in. I'm not going to go through. Yeah, let's see. Not a robot. All right. And then let's see. Why it's taking me a minute, but that does not exist. So anyway, but literally, like if I sign in, I'll be able to show you guys. There's another one called Joe Sandbox. Okay. And Joe Sandbox is another free tool. Literally, it's making me log in, but you can literally paste paste a link or a file in here. Select the operating system that you want. All right. Let's see here. Let's see, Windows 11. Accept, and I should be good to go. You have completed. All right, let me see. Is there anything else? Use live interactions. Why not? And do I have to sign? Is it making me sign in? It's probably making me sign in. It's probably gonna make me sign in. Yeah. So I don't remember my creds. Let me see if I log in. Yeah, I'm not gonna log in right now, but basically you get the gist of it. So all you need to do is just fill out like paste the URL or the file, and then you can literally just hit analyze, and it'll literally dissect whatever it is that it'll detonate it in an environment, but it's safe. It won't be able to, like, let's say, infect your computer. So those are two. Let me go ahead and send you this one. All right. Yes. So Tails is an operating system, a Linux-based operating system that you can essentially do the same thing with, but this is just like a browser-based tool. All right. Yeah, good question, Eric. All right, cool. Any other questions before I wrap up? One thing I want to ask, if you have questions, let me know. One thing I want to ask you all, if you don't mind, which would really help me and our environment and ecosystem, is if you enjoyed tonight's session, I just ask you to go write about it or talk about it on LinkedIn, and just shout out, like, Authority in general, because our whole brand vision and movement is helping aspiring and beginner cybersecurity professionals, specifically in BIPOC and underrepresented communities, get into cyberspace. All right. We are significantly behind when it comes to tech, education, and training. And I think that we do cybersecurity training better than anybody. All right. We're not a boot camp. We're not a certification farm or mill. We are literally a 24/7 security operations center with real tools, real data, and real people to back it. So if you enjoyed this, and this goes for, the people who are in our environment, in our team internally, and the new people who literally are just showing up. If you learned something tonight, and you feel like it was valuable, I would appreciate just a LinkedIn post, just kind of like, just sharing your comments on what you enjoyed or something along those lines. That would be more than enough for us, and I'd be super grateful for that. Thank you. Yep, appreciate you, Justin. Thank you for that. Yeah, appreciate those comments, Eric. Any last go backs before we call it a night? Any questions, comments, anything from the community? Like I said, in cybersecurity, folks, there is no silver bullet. It's not like you can, do what everyone else has done and get the same results in the same amount of time. This industry respects skill set. All right. This industry doesn't respect certifications. It doesn't respect, degrees. None of those three-letter acronyms matter. What matters more than anything is, can you do the job? I've been doing this 10 years in totality. February, I cracked 380K in salary off W-2 from this skill set, and I possess 0 certifications. 0. I don't have one certification, any CompTIA or EC Council certifications. I have 0 certifications. However, I got a ton of different Fortune 50 magnificent 7 companies on my resume that say I can do the job I say I can do. And that's more valuable than anything. So if you want to secure your future in cyberspace, then you guys have come to the right place. You have to do the job of a security analyst before you can become a security analyst. You have to have experience before you can go get an entry-level job that doesn't even exist. And if you look at the job descriptions of these recruiters that they're posting, it'll show like entry level and it'll say 3 to 5 years of make it make sense. Right? How can you be looking for an entry-level job but then require 3 to 5 years experience? Is because the entry-level job no longer exists. And you're competing with people like myself who have experience, who are even applying for those entry level, let's say mid-career roles, because this is a mission critical skill set. Okay. So I'm not the person that sells people dreams. All right. I sell groundwork, not block work, but groundwork using a framework that has been proven to work. That's why you got Justin right now standing up in his office who is working at Snapchat. All right. And he does not come from a technical background. All right. He does not have a technical degree or certifications. All right. So, and he's worked for companies like Meta, Barclays, Madison Square Garden. Now he's at Snapchat. All right. And there's other people in our community who have gotten jobs with no experience. There's other people in our community who are still in the transition of getting a job. But this industry respects experience, and we sell experience. We sell groundwork, and we provide a framework, ecosystem, community, and resources for people to be successful. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. For those of you who are here tomorrow, I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you have questions, Tor, I know you need those recordings. Continue to do the good work. Continue to show up. Continue to get busy every single day. And let's get straight to it, folks. All right. You guys know how to reach me if you need me.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right. Good night, team. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Not
Have a
everybody.
good night, guys.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.